Coming up on this week's edition of NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
Are you ready for the 2022 Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA Trade Show? We'll preview some of the great experiences that Houston has to offer for cattle producers and their families.
And now, NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
Hello and welcome to NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen. I'm Kate Maher. Thanks for joining us. For years, NCBA fought against the overreach of the Waters of the United States rule, also known as WOTUS. Those efforts paid off in 2020 as WOTUS was replaced by the Navigable Waters Protection Rule, removing the threat of excessive regulation of waters on farms and ranches. Now, the Biden administration is working to repeal and replace the NWPR and possibly return to the pre-2015 definition of navigable waters, which could stretch to include seasonal wet areas, small creeks, farm ponds, and even a puddle that might be in front of your barn. NCBA is working with the Environmental Protection Agency throughout this process to make sure the voices and concerns of American cattle producers are heard. The EPA is asking for public comments on this issue, and NCBA has created an easy way for you to share your feelings on this proposed rule change. Just go to ncba.org and click on the Policy tab to sign a letter that NCBA will then submit to the EPA on behalf of the producers it represents. The public comment period ends February 7th, so don't wait. Sign the letter today and add your voice to this important issue. Next week, thousands of cattlemen and women will make their way to Houston, Texas for the Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA Trade Show. It's an important 3.5 days filled with education, networking, business, and of course, a whole lot of fun. Joining us now with more on the convention is Kristen Torres, NCBA's Executive Director of Meetings and Events. Kristen, thanks for joining us. I know you're busy with last-minute preparations.
Yes, we sure are, but we're getting ready to go.
It's great. Well, for folks that have never been, why is this such a valuable experience?
So everything that a cattle producer would need for their operation, they can find here at the show. And also, this is where business is done for the industry. This is where policy is set. So it's really important that folks come to Houston and have their voices heard.
Yeah, I don't think people sometimes understand that this is really the place that if you're involved in the industry that you need to come and voice your concerns and be a part of the discussions and really set the path forward for NCBA and others in the beef industry. Again, just talk about how that happens through committee meetings.
Yeah, so this is where all the business for the industry is done. We have committee meetings every day. Those meetings are open to producers. You can't vote if you're not on the committee, but you can sit in the room and hear what's happening. And it's a chance to network with other producers and, like I said, have your voice heard. We also have regional meetings that happen during the convention, and it's a great opportunity for producers to connect with other people in their region, find out what's happening, and again, voice their opinions on what's happening in their region.
One of my favorite parts is just watching people from all over the country connect with others that they've seen at conventions over the years. And of course, a huge draw of the event is the NCBA Trade Show. What's in store this year?
Oh my gosh, the trade show is almost 10 acres this year. So we've got some inside space and some outside space. And anything that a producer needs to run their operation, they're going to find there on the trade show floor. There's equipment, there's pharmaceutical companies. We even have a retail area where you can shop till you drop, if you will. We have receptions in there every day. We have education happening in there as well. So it's really a one-stop shop there in the trade show.
And just be sure to wear comfortable shoes, right?
For sure, wear comfortable shoes.
We always seem to have a A-list lineup for guest speakers at our conventions. Who do we have in store this year?
Well, we love to try to bring in folks that bring in the flair for the city that we're in. So we have George Foreman that's going to be kicking off the convention this year at the opening general session. He's a native Houston. And we also have Joe Theismann. So a lot of our members are going to be really excited to see him, and he's got a great speech in store for us. And then in addition to that, Cattlemen's College has a full lineup of speakers. They have all kinds of breakout sessions, over 20 sessions producers will find there. And then we also have in store some folks from the Washington, D.C. office and some dignitaries from DC as well. So we'll be able to hear what's happening in the industry, what's happening globally. It's a great opportunity to find out what's happening in the industry and find better ways to run your operation.
Well, it sounds like more great speakers this year. We talk about having some fun. There's some entertainment in the evenings. What's up?
Yeah, so we have some great events planned. On Wednesday of the convention, we have a Y'all Come kind of party at the Rocket to Rustic, which is a venue real close to the convention center. Folks will have an opportunity to dance the night away there. And then closing out the convention this year, we're going to be doing a cowboy comedy club with comedian Jim Gaffigan. It's going to be a great time. He's hysterical.
I know cowboy comedy clubs have been very popular in the past. For folks not to miss it, if you're not signed up, you can still come, right?
Absolutely. You can still register. You can register online on the website, which is convention.ncba.org, or folks can just show up at the convention center in Houston, and we'll have registration set up there. They can register right there on site.
Kristen, thanks for all your work in this event. We'll look forward to seeing you in Houston.
Thank you.
Kristen mentioned many excellent reasons to attend the Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA Trade Show. And as you just heard, it's not too late for you to attend as well. It doesn't matter if you're a first-timer or a long-time convention attendee, we want to see you in Houston. You can find out all the details and get registered at the website convention.ncba.org. Still to come on Cattlemen to Cattlemen, we'll look at some fun things you may want to check out while you're in Houston. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Did you know you can get reimbursed for attending cattle industry educational events? The Rancher Resilience Grant helps cattle producers attend valuable programs such as Cattlemen's College and Stockmanship and Stewardship training sessions. Local, state, and national events qualify for the grant, and successful applicants can receive money back to help cover registration fees and hotel expenses. To apply for the Rancher Resilience Grant, go to ncba.org and click on the Producer tab.
Welcome back to NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen. Next week, thousands of beef producers from across the country will be here in Houston, Texas for the annual Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA Trade Show. There's a lot of fun things to see and do in Houston while you're in town. One of them is, of course, the iconic Space Center Houston. Joining us today is Meredith Moore, who's the communications manager for Space Center Houston. Meredith, thanks for joining us.
Hi, thank you for having us. It's a pleasure to be here.
You know, really, no matter your age, there's some part of the space program that's touched your life that you'll remember, whether it's the first walk on the moon, to the Space Shuttle Challenger, to the first rover that landed on Mars. And a lot of that is all here under one roof. Tell us a little bit about the experience here.
Yeah, space is so exciting. It's thriving, and there's so many things happening right now. And so you can come to Space Center Houston and really be a part of what's happening in human space exploration. We're at Space Center Houston. We're the official visitor center of NASA Johnson Space Center. We're also a dynamic science and space exploration learning center. And that means we're the hub, we're the convening destination for you to really come here to Houston, Space City, and be a part of what's happening now.
And you know, there's going to be a lot of food producers coming into town next week. We also have a lot of food scientists that are in our group. The food lab here is really something special to see when you think about the food needs of the astronauts in Houston. And I understand even beef has been in space.
That's right. So the Food Lab, one of the smallest manufacturers here in the country, actually is housed right at Johnson Space Center. And they're making all the food for the astronauts that are eating and, living and working right now on the International Space Station. So food scientists are working on those really great nutritional plans for the astronauts. And they develop those foods right here at NASA Johnson Space Center.
One of the really fun exhibits here is looking at producing food in space. Talk a little bit about that.
So astronauts right now on the space station are growing vegetables and things that will actually be able to maybe sustain life with us when we go to our future missions in deep space, like when we go to Mars. We're going to need food that's going to be sustainable and keep the astronauts healthy and well, but we're also going to need to grow it and have sustainable life sources there on Mars. You get to see a part of that right here at Space Center Houston. We have a veggie chamber, a prototype, just like the one they use on the space station to grow foods like radishes and lettuce.
One thing that was really fun for us to see today was the mock of this International Space Station, to kind of get a glimpse into those astronauts and how they live in space for up to a year.
Yeah, astronauts have actually been living in the International Space Station for more than 20 continuous years. And we get to tell the story of that right here at Space Center Houston. You can watch a live show called New Perspectives, all about how astronauts live and work on the space station. We'll talk about how they eat, sleep, work, and really what a day in the life of the astronauts on the space station looks like.
And maybe talk a little bit about what attendees need to know to come and enjoy the experience. I understand that there's even some astronauts that come here and interact with the crowds.
We have a fantastic way for you to experience Space Center Houston. Simply go to our website, spacecenter.org. Our visitor info page is a great guide. And also download the free Space Center Houston app. That'll help you prepare for your journey here at Space Center Houston. We've got more than 400 things for you to see and do. You're going to see flown artifacts, including flown spacecraft from every generation of spacecraft. We even have the Apollo 17 command module, the last module that went to the moon, right here at Space Center Houston. Another great experience here at Space Center Houston is the opportunity to have breakfast with an astronaut. You get to meet a space explorer here. So if you just buy a ticket for breakfast with an astronaut, that's including general admission, so you get to see everything else the center has to offer. You can start your day early with us and really share in the stories from a space explorer, have that great time connecting with family and friends. Space Center Houston is a great destination to bring family and really spend the whole day and discover what's happening now in space exploration.
A lot of great things to see here and a lot of great history of the space program here in the U.S. It was really fun to see today. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
When you're in Houston for the annual Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA trade show, make sure you land here at Space Center Houston. From Mission Control, Cattlemen to Cattlemen is signing off. But don't worry, we'll be back with more right after this. Don't forget, NCBA offers great after-hours entertainment for convention attendees. Wednesday night is the Rocket to the Rustic Party. Then on Thursday night is the Cowboy Comedy Club, headlined by Jim Gaffigan. Both events are included with your convention registration, and you can get all the details at the website, convention.ncba.org. Still to come on Cattlemen to Cattlemen, we'll explain how the right fly control program can have major benefits for both your cattle and your bottom line. Don't go away, we'll have more right after this.
Grass is the center of our universe. We've got to have a grass program that we can count on and plan on. That's what we need to sustain us, to keep us growing, to keep us prospering.
It can be tough to keep up with all the issues that impact the beef cattle business. That's why NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen is dedicated to bringing you valuable news, information, and education. The goal is to give you the knowledge you need to make the best decisions for your operation. So if you're looking for in-depth coverage of the beef industry and the issues that matter to you, don't miss Cattlemen to Cattlemen, debuting every week on RFD TV and on YouTube.
Flies can have a significant impact on the performance of your cattle. Russell Nimitz has a look at some great products from Central Life Sciences that can help keep your herd healthy and productive.
You know, each year, biting hornflies cost the U.S. beef cattle industry billions and billions of dollars, but help is available for cattle producers across the country. With us on the program is Mark Upton from Central Life Sciences, and truly, you folks have been helping cattle producers put more money back into their pocket instead of losing it to these parasites.
That's exactly right. Still today, all these years later, most producers don't realize that the hornfly is costing them maybe as much as $40 per cow because they're removing blood from the backs of these cows. It is over $1 billion a year in North America alone.
That is an incredible amount of money. Now walk us through how Alticid works, because for folks who may not know, it truly is a feed through, and it's really easy to get it into the animals and start putting more of that money back into your pocket.
Absolutely. Most producers would be putting out a free choice like loose mineral or a protein tub, something like that in front of their cattle to deliver vitamins and minerals. And so all they need to do is just ask for that product with Alticid in it. Those animals are going to come up and take a meal, hopefully every day, but at the most maybe every other day. And all we're doing is using the mouth as a mechanism to get Alticid through the back end and out onto the manure, because those female hornflies are going to lay their eggs only in really fresh manure. So when they do that, we're just locking them up in the manure, preventing them from becoming an adult.
Well, and of course, you folks have a wide range of products too. I mean, you're helping cow-calf producers with Alticid, but what about the feedlot operator out there too? You guys specifically have a product designed for them too.
We do. It's actually called Clarifly, and we're proud to say that it's labeled for cattle, for bovine. It's labeled for horses, it's labeled for swine, it's labeled for sheep and goats. So we've now got 5 different species on the label. When you put animals in confinement, you've typically got a lot of different areas of concern for flies. And so while out on pasture, Alticid is a really good product used on its own. When you go in confinement, Clarifly works really good, but you're probably going to have to employ like maybe a scatterbait or a spray, something like that, maybe from our Star Bar line.
And let's just wrap things up talking about the Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA trade show headed for Houston, Texas, the first part of February. And you folks at Central Life Sciences are going to help us kick things off in a big, big way in the Lone Star State.
We're really excited. You know, we've been doing this for a few years now, and we can't wait every year. We're going to have a party on that Wednesday night at the Rustic in Houston. Paul Bogart is going to be the band again this year. We're really excited. Can't wait to have everybody out.
Awesome news. Well, as always, thank you for joining us here on Cattlemen to Cattlemen, Mark.
Thank you for your time. Good to see you.
All right. Again, it's the 2022 Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA Trade Show headed for Houston, Texas, February 1st through the 3rd. For all the details, jump online at convention.ncba.org.
Bovine respiratory disease is the most costly disease facing the U.S. beef industry. And with me today is Dr. Bruce Hoffman, here to talk about a new product that will aid in the fight against BRD. Dr. Hoffman, thanks for joining me.
Thanks, Kevin. Appreciate being here.
Now, you all at Landco have a new product called Increxa. Tell us a little bit more about that product.
Increxa is an antibiotic under the macrolide class. The actual name is tulathromycin, which cattlemen have relied on for now 15 years, but now they have a branded alternative with Elanco called Increxa. And so we've come to appreciate that antibiotic as a successful treatment for the main bacterial pathogens of bovine respiratory disease.
So as you think about the times that we face risk and issues with BRD, when specifically is a product like Increxa the right product to use?
So first of all, we know with Increxa we're getting the right amount of drug to the lungs quickly and for the right duration. So, as we think about going into fall, I'm from Billings, Montana. We're experiencing drought in Montana. We're having early wean calves. I think we need to be prepared that we're going to have some calves get sick. And so having a plan that allows us to have Increxa there and to be used if cattle get sick. And that can be in a couple different forms. We may be buying source type calves where we're pretty comfortable that they have a good vaccination program. We get them started on feed good and we just pull and treat. So that's one area, right? That we're going to identify sick animals that are depressed, looking like they have bovine respiratory disease, right? And then first treatment on that, Increxa is a great option. And so that's one area. The other area is sometimes, we buy calves that are put together, high-risk type cattle, right? And in those deals, we may elect, through the use of your veterinarian, to work with Increxxa in a metaphylaxis, meaning that we're going to give the whole group of calves the antibiotic to basically cut down the morbidity by 50% and death loss by 50% in those cases.
Very good. And this is just one of a larger portfolio that Elanco has to fight BRD. Tell us a little bit about your broader portfolio.
It's great. I mean, I've been using Mycotil for my whole career, and Mycotil is the same class of Increxxa, okay? It's a macrolide, so we add to that class, but we also have Baytril that we acquired, and Baytril is a nice short-acting, fast in, fast out, that actually kills bacteria very quickly, and so we have that in our portfolio. We also have Loncore within our portfolio, and so we have a nice selection of antibiotics that, with the right operation, when you're managing cattle and bovine respiratory disease appropriately, you can pick the right drug for the right time.
And that's critically important, to have a toolbox full of those products and selecting the right product in the right amount at the right time.
Yeah, you got it, Kevin. And I think that's the thing. And I like to remind people that just because, along with the product, we have to have the right management, right? So we are always teaching people how to pull those cattle early, because we want to get those cattle pulled in a timely fashion for the products to work extremely well and get that calf healthy, and so that calf can perform and move on and create great beef, right? So.
Absolutely, that's what we're about. Thank you so much for spending time with us today and telling us about this exciting new product.
Thanks, Kevin. Appreciate being here.
And if you'd like more information, please go to the website increxxa.com or elanco.us.
The value of the convention to anyone involved in the cattle business simply can't be beat. And there's still time for you to join us in Houston. Find out everything you need to know, including how to register, at the website convention.ncba.org. There you'll also find special discounts on things like airfare and rental cars to help you get to, from, and around Houston. Still ahead, we'll take you behind the scenes of a Cattlemen's College event that offered valuable tips on cattle handling. That story when we return. Stay with us.
Cattle producers across the country work hard to care for their animals and their land. The USDA's Natural Resources Conservation Service is there to help. Find out how you can work with NRCS to develop a conservation plan for your operation. Find possible funding resources for implementing conservation practices, or get free expert advice on ways to improve your farm or ranch. Visit the website nrcs.usda.gov today. This beef quality assurance tip is funded by the Beef Checkoff.
Hi, I'm Courtney Gray, the Director of Marketing and Industry Relations with the Pennsylvania Beef Council. A large portion of my job is on the farm with producers, helping them to obtain beef quality assurance certification. But another part of my job is working every day with consumers who have questions about the beef that they are purchasing in the grocery store. My tip for you today is to obtain your beef quality assurance certification. I understand that many of the tips that are in the beef quality assurance program might be things you've already implemented on your farm or ranch. The importance of the certification process helps us when we're talking with consumer audiences to show your commitment to basic things on your farm. Things like good animal husbandry, quality animal care, and ensuring that the beef that ends up in consumers' hands is of a high quality product. It's never been more important for us to have that story to tell. I hope this has encouraged you to want to obtain your beef quality assurance certification. You can find out more by visiting bqa.org, which will help you find the location for an in-person certification near you, or you can take the online modules and complete the certification from the comfort of your own home. BQA, the right way is the only way.
The Beef Quality Assurance Program is funded by the Beef Checkoff.
There's new technology that allows us to manage livestock in new and innovative ways, and I'm with one of those suppliers today, the Gallagher folks. With me now is Buddy Rowlett and Ray Williams of Gallagher. Ray, tell us just a little bit about some of the exciting new apps you have for animal management.
Well, over the past few years, we've been developing applications so the farmer can view all of his data that he collects at chute-side on his phone or on his computer. And it's managing your farm, it's managing all the aspects of all your metrics and making sure that you're making the right decisions. So in this particular piece here, this is our new scale that is simple, it just reads weight, but when you hook it up to an iPhone or to any kind of phone or iPad, it literally sends the weight right to it, and then you can manage your data and your animal IDs right on the pad. So it gives us opportunity and flexibility to actually do more at chute-side. And there's also an application where it goes on to the cloud. Now I can share my information with all of my employees and others and I can be on vacation, still see what's going on at the farm by just checking in on my account.
Pretty convenient. And Buddy, I have to tell you that I noticed this collar, and I think I know what technology this is going to provide. May save us a little time from a fencing standpoint. Tell us about this.
Well, Kevin, this is something there's been a lot of buzz about for the last 2 or 3 years, and it's finally here. This has been a really hot topic for us this week. It's virtual fencing. It works from satellite, so you set up all your parameters to where you want your livestock on the farm on your iPad or your phone via Google Earth, and then it downloads from a satellite. The cattle are outfitted with this collar, and then as they move towards those parameters, it gives them an audible saying you're getting close to where you're not supposed to be, and then it lets them know when they've gotten there. So
that's pretty exciting. And this is solar powered, is it?
It is solar powered, so we don't have to worry about batteries going down or any of that. We know that it's going to last.
With all the talk we have about sustainability and managing our resources effectively, I think technology like this is certainly going to allow us to manage our grasslands much better, won't it?
Oh, absolutely. And we see a lot of use for it in public lands where we can't build fence. And then we look at the problems with labor today and with getting supplies. We really feel like this is going to answer a lot of problems.
And Ray, one other thing, we have these load bars sitting with us right now. Tell us a little bit about the technology there.
Well, the main problem with load bars, as you can imagine, is the cords getting cut or pinched in the rig, in the squeeze chute. So what we've done now is we've taken the cord off and put a battery on the load bar. And it also is a Bluetooth product that actually now commits to a phone again. So if a person doesn't have a scale, they literally just hook it up on an app now and get up on it, and they read the weight right there on their system. So it gives us a lot of flexibility. It's, you move your chute around and not have any concerns about getting cords and such. The battery on this is built in such a way, and there's such a small microamperage coming out of it, so it doesn't really deplete very quickly. So we can get 7 to 8 years of battery life out of a load bar battery. So it's pretty revolutionary. We're pretty excited about it.
That is revolutionary, and you are demonstrating, as you say, the next generation of animal management. Now, if you want some more information about Gallagher, you can visit their website. That's GallagherUSA.com.
Well, each year attendees here at the Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA Trade Show are treated to live cattle demonstrations. And with us on today's program is Dr. Ron Gill from Texas A&M University. And Dr. Gill, talk about what you guys are doing and showcasing here at the live cattle demonstration arena. You along with your partner, Kurt Pate. I mean, you guys are renowned cattle handling experts. Talk about what you guys do every year here at convention.
Well, we try to demonstrate some techniques that can improve cattle handling, but one thing we really try to do is maybe teach people how to teach. That's not our strong suit in this area. A lot of times we know how to do it, we expect other people to know how to do it, but being able to communicate what we're doing and why and how we want that to happen is a little difficult for most of us. So that's a big part of it, but if we can improve stockmanship, we improve the health of the cattle, we improve the bottom line basically is you can control shrink, sickness rates, and a lot of other things by becoming better stockmen. So we kind of go through all of that part of it, but mainly it's just kind of understanding cattle behavior, learning how to read what they're telling you, because the cattle will tell you what you need to do if you're paying attention, but sometimes we don't pay attention like we should. So part of it's just kind of repetition a lot of times on what we hear. We have a lot of people come back and really want to reinforce what they thought they heard the first time, and then they add their experiences on top of that. So it's interesting to see people progress over time in this area.
Do you think after people watch a demonstration like this and they go home and maybe try to implement some of what they learned either from you or Kurt, they're like, wow, this stuff does actually work?
We've had people come back and actually tell us, we were shocked. We went home and this actually worked. We thought y'all were fools when y'all were telling us that, but I've had that happen more than once. And I don't even mind that. Just if you're in a situation that's not working very good, fall back on some of this stuff we've talked about and try it. And if it works, then add to it, build to it, because you can always go back to what you were doing. And so most of the time it's kind of fine-tuning maybe how we approach some of this. For people who've been in the business a long time, it's not earth-shattering difference, but maybe a little tweaking here and there can make a huge difference in the way the cattle respond.
I say this a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but boy, if folks actually implement some of what you guys are learning out here, it might actually keep a few relationships together out there on the ranch too.
Well, there's a lot of life lessons learned. If you're paying attention, there's no difference really in the relationship you build with livestock than it is with people. We learned that in the horse world with natural horsemanship, and it's all the same kind of context of pressure, release, learning how to read a situation. I use the example all the time. If your spouse is mad, it never improves if you just keep pressuring. Yeah. And so you have to take the pressure off and let things cool down and reshape. And it's kind of an interesting comparison a lot of times to life situations and what we do with cattle and learning how to communicate. Not any of us strong suit, but something we have to do.
Well, obviously we're doing this at convention this year held in Nashville, but throughout the year you guys actually do take a lot of these teachings and lessons that you're doing in person here at this year's event. You take them across the nation, and it's a great opportunity for folks that can't join us at the convention to get to see and do and see what this is all about.
Yes, the stockmanship and stewardship events that we do with Merck helping get us around the country, those have been phenomenal to work with. One, we really get to emphasize maybe even a little more on the stewardship side of it, but we combine it with a stockmanship component. But those regional meetings have been really rewarding for us, and also hopefully the people that come get something out of it. If we spend a little more time, go a little more in depth into what we're actually talking about here, I think we use the demo pen to kind of set up those kind of programs around the country, whether we do them through the stockmanship and stewardship or local beef cattle organizations that bring us in. All of it kind of ties together, and it's just a good situation. We have a lot of effort put into those and a lot of quality.
Well, over the years, I've learned myself in different experiences that it's a lot better to have hands-on demonstration. You can learn a lot with the in-classroom stuff, but there's nothing better than actually getting out there with live animals and hearing it firsthand from guys like you and Kurt that are actually doing it.
I don't think it'd make it better if we get people in the pen with us so we could yell at them. Really replicate what we do at home kind of deal.
Yeah, there you go. Well, if that's what you want to experience, remember there are some regional stockmanship and stewardship program meetings happening. Get all the details online at stockmanshipandstewardship.org.
Cattlemen's College alone probably makes it worth your time to head to Houston. The information and education available there is second to none. And you'll go home with new insights that just might change your cattle business for the better in 2022. Reserve your space for Cattlemen's College and register now for the Cattle Industry Convention itself at the website, convention.ncba.org. And when we come back, it's time for a weather update with meteorologist Matt Makins. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
In the world of cattle vaccines, when you see fewer reactions, you'll notice healthier cattle and higher profits too. Because sometimes good protection is about what you don't see. Protect your productivity with cattle vaccines from Merck Animal Health. Proven to cause fewer reactions. You'll like what you see. Our trusted portfolio is just one more way Merck Animal Health works for you. Talk to your veterinarian. and visit cattlefriendlyvaccines.com to learn more.
This beef quality assurance tip is funded by the Beef Checkoff.
Hi, I'm Courtney Gray, Director of Marketing and Industry Relations with the Pennsylvania Beef Council. I'm here today to share some beef quality assurance tips on vaccine management and safe handling. It's incredibly important when you're working with vaccines that you are following the proper management of those vaccines as directed on the label. Most vaccines require storage in a refrigerated area between 35 and 45 degrees Fahrenheit and require being stored out of direct sunlight. It's incredibly important that we follow those very basic tips in order to ensure their efficacy when delivering the product into an animal. In addition, you will want to follow the label instructions on where the vaccine should be administered. Beef Quality Assurance would recommend that you administer any injections forward of the shoulder in the triangle region of the neck. When you're working with vaccines chute side, you want to ensure that if you're storing vaccines in a cooler or moving vaccines from location to location, it's highly recommended that you stick a small thermometer in the cooler to ensure that those vaccines are kept safe. This also helps with employee management and safety of yourself as well as the livestock at the chute side. For more information on vaccine storage or animal handling in general, please visit bqa.org.
The Beef Quality Assurance Program is funded by the Beef Checkoff.
Time now for Weather Watch with meteorologist Matt Makins.
Hope this Weather Watch finds you doing well. Coming out in your February edition of the National Cattlemen newspaper, you're going to find details on how active the severe weather situation was in December. Was it unusual? Was it not? Some perspective there, as well as an outlook going forward in time. For this C2C, let's talk about the Tonga volcano. That volcano occurred down in the South Pacific, right in here. There's Australia, there's the United States, so a long ways away from home here. However, we did notice a bit of a tsunami across the west coast. We also noticed that your home barometers, those pressure sensors, had an uptick as a shock wave rolled across the United States. Started east, rolled across the U.S., all part of that volcano. Now, from a climate standpoint, it released, the volcano did, a lot of ash into the atmosphere. It's way too early to talk about the climate impact or how your weather forecast may need to be altered because of the volcano. But that is something we need to watch as we go throughout the spring into the summer and try to pinpoint what those details are. How big of an impact is that eruption on our climate system across the globe? So that was one of the more recent headlines that we've had over the last couple of weeks outside of December's active weather. What's the status of La Nina? Big time impactor for the country. No real change in the equatorial Pacific Ocean, still colder than normal there, and those sea surface temperatures dictate La Nina pattern. We also have colder than normal ocean temperatures around Alaska, western Canada, into the west coast of the U.S., all driving our climate. Speaking of climate, the long-term outlook, I'm going to be talking about this a lot at the conference in Houston. Hopefully you can join us for CattleCon. But what we're going to be talking about is La Nina trying to weaken as we get into the summer months, but it doesn't totally go away. We'll either be La Nina or neutral throughout the summer ahead. Details on that in Houston. As far as the spring outlook is concerned for now, best fit years shown here. Warmest of all, we're down across the southwest, as well as driest of all. This is precipitation, so dry and warm expected here across the south and southwest. Areas of moisture, Ohio, Tennessee valleys along the Mississippi, perhaps some hit and miss areas across the northwest and northern plains and the east coast. But again, mostly dry for the southwest, and that leads toward colder than normal conditions being elsewhere. So drought conditions here with the heat, and then colder than normal for the central and northern plains and out towards the east. That's for March, April, and May. If I don't see you in Houston, we'll see you here on the next C2C.
The NCBA trade show is a great place to introduce new products, and we're going to talk about one of those in just a minute. With me now is Kelly Whitman with Rotomix. Kelly, let's begin by talking to us a little bit about Rotomix, the company.
Rotomix is a 37-year-old manufacturer of livestock feeding equipment, manure spreaders, really anything related into the livestock industry and feeding cattle.
And you are introducing a new technology called Auto Feed here at this show. Talk to us a little bit about that technology.
So auto feed came about. It's actually been kind of in the works for a couple of years. The need to eliminate a skilled driver has become more important every day. And so what we did with our auto feed system is it is designed to work with our ration delivery box, or the RDB. So what we're doing is, with controlled input with bunk length and call weights, we control the ground speed and our conveyor discharge speed to put out the required pounds per feed per bunk foot to try and make the call weight by the end of the bunk and eliminate backing up of the truck.
That's phenomenal. So literally, as long as I know the bunk length and the amount of feed, it calculates it for me internally, and it will drive the amount, the speed as well as the rate to deliver that amount of feed.
Yes. The bunk length and the call weight is strictly all we need to discharge as close to the call weight as possible. It's not going to be perfect every time. There's so many things going on with truck scales, a rough terrain kind of affects scales. But we can pre-program the ground speed, whether or not the spout opens every time. We can control the height of the discharge door, and it's all programmable, and it's all remote accessible from our engineering department through telematics.
So you don't really have to be a feed truck driver to operate this, is that right?
No, you don't. If you know how to drive the truck and you can drive along the bunk and can hit two buttons, you can drive this truck.
So the last question, does this technology work on some of your other products?
At this time, it does not. We do have plans in the very immediate future to adapt this into our rotary mixers, like our 920s, and possibly down into our 720s and 620s.
Very good. Well, thank you so much. That's exciting technology and certainly solving a need for an industry that is challenged to get capable, skilled, experienced people to deliver feed to cattle. We appreciate it.
Yep. Thank you, Kevin. We appreciate you guys.
To learn more about this new technology, visit rotomix.com.
Do you want to rewatch an episode of Cattlemen to Cattlemen, or just catch up on anything you may have missed? Then subscribe to the Cattlemen to Cattlemen YouTube channel. You'll find the current week's show there, as well as a complete archive of all of our past episodes, plus our valuable educational segments and producer profiles from around the country. So check out the Cattlemen to Cattlemen page on YouTube. We'll have more right after this, so stay with us.
We didn't just design the 6M tractors with you in mind, we designed them with you by our side. The new 6M tractors from John Deere, reimagined by you, for you. For a limited time, get 0% APR financing on qualifying 6 Series tractors and round balers. Experience the new 6M at your local John Deere dealer.
If you're looking for the best in cattle industry news, information, and education, then don't miss NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen. Each week we cover important topics such as herd health and cattle handling, plus updates with congressional and industry leaders about today's top policy issues, and stories shot on location at cattle farms and ranches around the country. Don't miss NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen on RFD TV and on YouTube.
We've gone to Texas for CattleCon 2022. The Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA trade show is the oldest and largest event in the beef cattle industry, and we're headed to Houston, February 1st through the 3rd. The Space City is a melting pot of culture, art, and some down-home Southern hospitality. Everything's bigger in Texas, so you can't afford to miss the massive NCBA trade show. This is your best opportunity to network with fellow producers, learn, and simply have a blast. Engaging speakers, outstanding education, all for the beef cattle industry. So let's get back on track as we've gone to Texas for CattleCon 2022 in Houston, February 1st through the 3rd. Visit convention.ncba.org for more.
Quality beef begins with trusted quality nutrition, and And that's exactly what you get with the Kent Group. Now, with us on today's program is Dr. Brandon Cook, the ruminant nutritionist. And let's talk about some of your guys' products and programs, because there really are quite a few options out there for cattlemen and cattlewomen. But let's dive right into it, Brandon, and talk about your Framework 365 program.
Yeah, as you mentioned, there's a lot of options across the industry, and quite frankly, we even have quite the gamut as well. But I love that component of us being able to help cattlemen, whether you're on the commercial side, 5 head, 500, or you've got an elite seed stock. We're going to be able to service you and provide what you need.
That is some great news. Now talk about some of your performance minerals that you have available.
Sure. Well, we just came out about a year ago with a new Performance Framework 365 line based off of our classic, really successful base mineral program of Framework 365. And some of these products have just another step of nutrition to provide for those performance-minded cattle, the ones that you're looking to get a little bit more out of. They've got a little bit more genetic potential. I think we can all agree that cattle in 2021 perform a little bit differently than back in, say, 2000, let alone 1980, right? So one that I've been having a lot of fun and success with cattlemen and cattle in the industry has been Performance Sure-Footed. It's based on a really basic, good quality level of nutrition from Framework ADE. And then what we've done is we put in a full rate of Zinpro's Avela Plus. We have great levels of zinc, of copper, of iodine in there, along with our basal higher rates of vitamins A, D, and E that cattle just react really well with.
You know, it'd be crazy for cattle producers not to embrace some of this new and exciting nutritional technology that's right at their fingertips. Let's talk about your formula for embryo transfers, because that's awful important too.
Absolutely. As we get into that breeding season, most producers understand there's some benefits to increasing that plane of nutrition and even the mineral program, that's where it really counts. And so we've got a couple performance minerals, whether it's Performance Full Flush or Performance ET Elite, which is that top tier, not a better mineral on the market right now, with a lot of components that are going to help with rumen health, with energy utilization, making sure that cow's in good body condition score, and then taking care of her mineral needs and vitamin needs with ProPath 4 and high levels of vitamin E.
We've talked a lot about some great mineral programs that you have available here at Kent, but you know, in reality, it's not just about a 1 month or 2 month program, is it? I mean, we've got to embrace this and use it year round.
Absolutely. I think that's spoken very well in the Framework 365 day name. It's built from January 1 to December 31st, and then it's not just mineral. There's no question mineral's the backbone, but when you work with a company like Kent that provides quality and trusted nutrition, you get the mineral program, you get the protein supplementation, and you get the service from people like myself and my coworkers in the field to provide you with what you need to be successful every day of the year.
Absolutely. Well, we appreciate you joining us here on Cattlemen to Cattlemen today.
Thank you, sir.
And of course, at Kent, it's all about quality animal health products that you can trust, guaranteed. And for all the details, visit them online at kentfeeds.com.
Don't forget, you still have time to plan a break from winter and make it to Houston to be a part of the Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA trade show. Here's a closer look at some of the fun activities that Houston has to offer.
After you've checked out the NCBA trade show that offers more than 10 acres of exhibits, you might be ready to venture out to see more of Houston, one of America's biggest cities. Just outside the front door of the convention center is Discovery Green, a 12-acre park with fountains, places for kids to play, and even a model boat pond. In fact, Houston has a wide variety of beautiful outdoor spaces like the Buffalo Bayou with 52 miles of hiking and biking trails, and the expansive Herman Park where you can see the Sam Houston statue, enjoy the gardens, an outdoor train ride, and make a stop at the 55-acre Houston Zoo that offers more than 6,000 animals to fascinate visitors of all ages. Another hit for kids is the Children's Museum of Houston with more than 90,000 square feet of innovative interactive exhibits, including FlowWorks that demonstrates the power of water. Houston is packed with art museums and outdoor art exhibits, and there's no shortage of outstanding and unique foods to be sampled throughout the city. If you enjoy a cold beer, the St. Arnold Brewing Company is located in a 100-year-old warehouse and offers a wide variety of great brews, including Endeavor, a double IPA named after the Space Shuttle. There's plenty to do at night with great dining, fun bars, and live music, all a short trip from the convention center. All in all, there are countless activities that can help make your trip to Houston and the Cattle Industry Convention one you'll never forget.
The value of the convention to anyone involved in the cattle business simply can't be beat. It kicks off next Tuesday and runs through Thursday, and you can even purchase a one-day registration if you just want to make a brief visit and take some time to check out the trade show. You can find all the details at convention.ncba.org. It'll be the best investment you'll make in your cattle business this year. We're wrapping up this week's show with legacy photos. These are great shots submitted by our viewers of daily life on their farms and ranches. Let's take a look. If you'd like to see your photo on Cattlemen to Cattlemen, you can submit your favorite shots a couple of ways. You can message them to us on the Cattlemen to Cattlemen Facebook page or email them to c2c@beef.org. Send them our way and we may use them on a future episode. Well, that wraps up this week's edition of NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen. Thanks so much for spending your time with us. I also hope you'll join us in person next week in Houston. It'll be a trip you'll never forget.